Varadari Yashodanandana Brajadana Yashodanandana Brajadana Yashodanandana ki.
Jai.
Antara Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Jai. Haribo.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrityam.
Narayanam Namaskrityam.
Naram Shaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Sarasvati Vyasa.
Devim Sarasvati Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Nashtapraishu Abadeshu.
Nashtapraeshu Abhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Tamashloke.
Bhagavati Tamashloke.
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki.
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki.
Thank you very much to give me the opportunity to read Srimad Bhagavatam in the station of pure devotee around me, only pure devotee, and give me your mercy that I can say something relevant for our spiritual life and our purification. French, English,
Comme tu veux, je peux traduire si tu as besoin.
que je vais faire en anglais.
Tu fais en anglais?
Parce qu'on peut jouer tout en anglais sur l'ordinateur. Ce sera plus simple. Alors, c'est pas facile à lire ces versets. On va essayer. Laksha Svatsu Vyakrita Rupam Ashuddha Buddhe.
Rakshasva Suryantra Rupama Shuddha Buddhe.
Rakshasvasu Vyakrita Rupam Ashuddha Buddhe.
Rakshasva Suryantra Rupama Shuddha Buddhe.
Tasya Kara Trishira Dusana Mukhya Bandhu.
Tasya Kara Trishira Dushana Mukhya Bandhu.
Désolé, je suis pas. Jagne Chaturdasha Sahasram Aparaniya.
Jagne Chaturdasha Sahasram Aparaniya.
Kodandapani Atmana Uvasa Krishnam.
Kodandapani Rattamana Uvasa Krishnam.
Rakshasvasu Vyakrita Rupam Ashuddha Buddhe.
Rakshasva Surya Krita Rupama Shuddha Buddhe.
Tasya Kara Trishira Duchana Mukhya Bandhu.
Tasya Kara Trishira Dushana Mukhya Bandhu.
Jagne Chaturdasha Sahasram Aparaniya.
Jagne
Chaturdasha Sahasram Aparaniya.
Krodandapani Atmana Uvasa Krishnam.
Kodandapani Rattamana Uvasa Krishnam.
Rakshasvasu Vyakrita Rupam Ashuddha Buddhe.
Rakshasva Surya Krita Rupama Shuddha Buddhe.
Tasya Kara Trishira Dushana Mukhya Bandhu.
Tasya Kara Trishira Dushana Mukhya Bandhu.
Jagne Chaturdasha Sahasram Aparaniya.
Jagne Chaturdasha Sahasram Aparaniya.
Krodandapani Atmana Uvasa Krishnam.
Kodandapani Rattamana Uvasa Krishnam.
Ok, à vous d'essayer.
Rakshasva Surya Krita Rupama Shuddha Buddhe.
Rakshasvasu Vyakrita Rupam Ashuddha Buddhe.
Tasya Kara Trishira Dushana Mukhya Bandhu.
Tasya Kara Trishira Dushana Mukhya Bandhu.
Jagne Chaturdasha Sahasrama Paraniya.
Jagne Chaturdasha Sahasrama Paraniya.
Kodandapani Atamana Uvasa Krishram.
Kodandapani Atmana Uvasa Krishram.
Can you zoom?
Zoom? Okay.
Control plus.
Okay. You want to try?
Laksha Swasurya Krita Rupa Mashuddha Buddhes.
Laksha Swasurya Krita Rupa Mashuddha Buddhe.
Tasya Kara Trishira Dushana Mukhya Bandhu.
Tasya Kara Trishira Dushana Mukhya Bandhu.
Jagne Chaturdasha Sahasrama Paraniya.
Jagne Chaturdasha Sahasrama Paraniya.
Kodandapani Ratamana Uvasa Krishram.
Kodandapani Atmana Uvasa Krishram. You want to try? Pas de façon machin. Okay, Ataji? Oh, you have to try?
Laksha Swasurya Krita Rupa Mashuddha Buddhes.
Laksha Swasurya Krita Rupa Mashuddha Buddhe.
Tasya Kara Trishira Dushana Mukhya Bandhu.
Tasya Kara Trishira Dushana Mukhya Bandhu.
Jagne Chaturdasha Sahasrama Paraniya.
Jagne Chaturdasha Sahasrama Paraniya.
Kodandapani Atamana Uvasa Krishram.
Kodandapani Atamana Uvasa Krishram. Good. Mataji, you want to try? Laksha Swasurya Krita Rupa Mashuddha Buddhe.
Tasya Kara Trishira Dushana Mukhya Bandhu.
Tasya Kara Trishira Dushana Mukhya Bandhu.
Jagne Chaturdasha Sahasrama Paraniya.
Kodandapani Atmana Uvasa Krishram. Okay, continue. Traduction, translation, word for word. Laksha Swasu
Laksha Swasu
of Shurpanaka,
of Shurpanaka.
the sister of Rakshasa,
Sister of the Rakshasa.
Ravana.
Ravana.
Vyakrita,
Vyakita.
Lord Rama,
Rama.
deformed.
Formed.
Rupam,
Rupam.
the form.
The form.
Uj, Ashuddha Buddhe,
Ashuddha Buddhe.
because our intelligence was polluted by lusty desire.
Because our intelligence was polluted by lust and desire.
Tasya,
Tasya.
of earth.
Of love.
Kara Trishira Duchana Mukhya Bandhun.
Kara Trishira Dushana Bandhu.
Many friends aided by Kara,
Many friends.
Many friends aided by Kara.
Trishira and Dushana.
Trishira and Dushana.
Jagne,
Jagne.
I,
He.
Lord Ramachandra,
Lord
Lord Ramachandra.
killed.
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 Chaturdasha Sahasram,
Chaturdasha Sahasram.
14,000.
14,000.
Aparaniha,
Aparaniya.
invincible.
Invincible.
Kodanda,
Kodama.
bow and arrow.
Bows and arrows.
Pani,
Pani.
in his hand.
In his hand.
Atmana,
Atamana.
wandering in the forest.
Wandering in the forest.
Uvata,
Uvasa.
lived there.
Lived
Death.
Trishram,
Krishna.
with great difficulties.
With great difficulties.
Translation, there's no purport for the two verses. We will read the purport of the next one. While wandering in the forest, where he accepted a life of hardship, carrying his invincible bow and arrow in his hand, Lord Ramachandra deformed Ravana's sister, who was polluted with lusty desire. by cutting off her nose and ears. He also killed her 14,000 Rakshasa friends, headed by Kala, Trishila, and Dushana. Ok. Je vais pas dire le sanskrit. Désolé. O King Parikshit, when Ravana, who had 10 heads on his shoulder, heard about the beautiful and attractive feature of Sita, his mind was agitated by lusty desire, and he went to kidnap her. To distract Lord Ramachandra from his ashram, Ravana sent Malicha in the form of a golden deer. And when Lord Ramachandra saw that wonderful deer, he left his residence and followed it and finally killed it with sharp arrow, just as Lord Shiva killed Daksha. Oh, this one's very important. When Ramachandra entered the forest and Lakshman was also absent, the worst of the Rakshasa, Ravana, kidnapped Sita Devi, the daughter of the king of Videha, just as a tiger seizes unprotected sheep when the shepherd is absent. Then Lord Ramachandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshman, as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus he showed, by his personal example, the condition of a person attached to woman. Purport. In this verse, the word Trisanginam Gatim Iti indicates that the condition of a person attached to woman was shown by the Lord himself. According to moral instruction, Griye Nahim Vival Jayet. When one goes on a tour, one should not bring his wife. Formerly, men used to travel without convenience, but still, as far as possible, when one leaves home, one should not take his wife with him. Especially if one... Vous avez entendu, hein? Especially if one is in such a condition as Lord Ramachandra when banished by the order of his father. Whether in the forest or at home, if one is attached to woman, this attachment is always troublesome, as shown by the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his personal example. Of course, this is the material side of Trisanghi. But the situation of Lord Ramachandra is spiritual, for it does not belong to the material world. Narayana Paro Vyaktat. Narayana is beyond the material creation because he is the creator of the material world. He is not subject to the condition of the material world. The separation of Lord Ramachandra from Sita is spiritually understood as Vipralamba, which is an activity of the Ladini potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, belonging to the Sringara ras, the meadow of conjugal love in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has all the dealing of love, displaying the symptom called Sadvika, Sanchari, Vilapa, Murcha, and Unmada. Thus, when Lord Ramachandra was separated from Sita, all these spiritual symptoms were manifested. The Lord is neither impersonal nor impotent. Rather, he is Satchid Ananda Vigraha, the eternal form of knowledge and bliss. That he has all the symptoms of spiritual bliss. Feeling separation from one's beloved is also an item of spiritual bliss. As explained by Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, Radha Krishna Paranaya Vikriti Ladini Shakti The dealing of love between Radha and Krishna are displayed as the pleasure potency of the Lord. The Lord is the original source of all pleasure, the reservoir of all pleasure. Lord Ramachandra therefore manifested the true both sides, spiritually and materially. Materially, those who are attached to women suffer, but spiritually, when there are feeling of separation between the Lord and his pleasure potency, the spiritual bliss of the Lord increase. This is further explained in Bhagavad Gita. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Shri Dada Padishwara Ki Jai. Avajanantima muda manuchim tanum hashritam param babam majananto mama buddha maheshwaram. One who does not know the spiritual potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead thinks of the Lord as an ordinary human being. But the Lord's mind, intelligence and senses can never be affected by material conditions. This fact is further explained in the Skanda Purana as quoted by Madhvacharya. Ok, I will. Je vous passe.
Bah alors.
Si vous voulez, vous pouvez lire le Skanda Purana. If you want to read this, you can read. I will read the translation. It was actually impossible for Ravana to take away Sita. The form of Sita taken by Ravana was an illusory representation of Mother Sita, Maya Sita. When Sita was tested in the fire, this Maya Sita was burned, and the real Sita came out of the fire. A further understanding to be derived from this example is that a woman, however powerful she may be, in the material world must be given protection, for as soon as she is unprotected, she will be exploited by Rakshasa like Ravana. Here the word Vedeha Rajaduhitari indicate that before Mother Sita was married to Lord Ramachandra, she was protected by her father, Vedera Raja. And when she was married, she was protected by her husband. Therefore, the conclusion is that a woman should always be protected. According to the Vedic rules, there is no scope for a woman's being independent, asamaksham. For a woman cannot protect herself independent. Om Adhyanatinandasya Vyamam Sada Sharakaya Chakshunvitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanshakapataruyacha Kripa Sindhuyayacha Patitanam Bhavalebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Let's read the verse again. When Ramachandra entered the forest and Lakshman was also absent, the wards of the Rakshasa Ravana kidnapped Sita Devi, the daughter of the king Videha, just as a tiger seizes unprotected sheep when the shepherd is absent. Then Lord Ramachandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshman, as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus, he showed by his personal example, the condition of a person attached to woman. So this pastime is very interesting. I mean, the Lord, when he comes and he do pastime, is not just for his enjoyment, is to teach many lessons in this pastime. So we can remember the pastime. So Lord Ramachandra went to the forest on the order of his father, and Sita wanted to follow him in the forest. And later, there was this pastime of Ravana stealing Sita Devi. So he sent this demon Marichi in the form of a golden deer to attract actually the attention from Sita Devi. Started to ask to Ramachandra if she can get this deer, and Ramachandra started to follow the deer. He refused because he didn't want to let Sita alone, because Ramachandra came to show the example of a perfect husband, and the perfect husband is someone who follows the Dharma, follows the rule in relation with wife, children, and protect the wife. But she wasn't insisting, and after that he accepted, and he went to try to catch this deer. And he asked to Lakshman to protect Sita Devi. So he went, and it was too long, and after some time Sita Devi started to become anxious for his husband, for Ramachandra, and he started to say to Lakshman, "What are you doing here? Go to find what happened with my husband, with Ramachandra." And Lakshman said, "No, I cannot. I promised to Ramachandra, and it's my duty to protect you." And she started to try to manipulate him. So this is a tendency of women. Under emotion, they will try to use the emotion to get what they want. And one day, Maharaj said me, "No, never trust a woman who cries in front of you. She will try to attract something, get something from you." This is what Maharaj said, because we was with one of his disciples who was crying, and I said, I asked him, "How you do, Maharaj? When I see a woman crying in front of me, or someone who cries, I feel I want to cry also. But you are like a stone." And he said me, I have the experience in the past. Never trust a woman who's crying in front of you. So I took it as a really good teaching from Maharaj. The women are more working on the emotional platform, the senses and emotion. And this is the best actually, because they have this duty to raise children, to nourish the children. So this emotion is natural and is given by the creation of the Lord, is not to be rejected also. This is natural for a woman to be emotional. And so Sita started to say to Lakshman, "So, you are here alone with me, you want to abuse me." So she started to say this, and Lakshman could not hear this from Sita. What she said? She said, "I want to abuse her. This is horrible. I cannot hear this anymore." And he finished by going to try to find Ramachandra, and this is how Sita got trapped by Ravana. So we see that the man in a couple, in a relation between man and woman, the man should not follow the emotion of the wife. He should be fixed on his dharma, his duty, and not follow the emotion of the woman. He should keep his consciousness fixed on the service of the Lord, and not be trapped by this tendency of emotion. So Prabhupada is really strong in his purport, and because he preached the absolute truth, he not deviate from this absolute truth. And he said that a man who is attached to a woman will suffer. So the relation between man and woman, I think the good point to discuss on this verse, and this topic is how should be the relation between men and women in Krishna consciousness. Because all this pastime is showing some contrast to see the difference between a lusty person, Ravana, and a dutiful person as Ramachandra. And this contrast is very nicely shown that we can choose which one we want to follow. So we see that Ravana, by his attachment to woman, will die. It will be the cause of his dying. And Ramachandra always follow the duty of a perfect husband. Even when Sita came back, he didn't accept directly her. He wanted, because he said a woman who is touched by another man cannot be accepted, is not proper. So he showed all this example. So the relation between men and women should not be based on lust, should be based on love. So there is one verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita who is very nicely explained this. This verse is Kama Prema Dhankara Vibina Lakshana Loha Hara Hema Yeche Svarupe Vilakshana. Lust and love have different characteristics, just as iron and gold have different nature. So it can look like similar, but it's completely opposite. Lust is my gratification of senses. Love is how to serve the Lord. So we can serve the Lord through Grihastha Ashram, through the couple and association with women, if it's a help to grow together in Krishna consciousness, to serve the Lord. If this relation helps us to engage in the service of the Lord, it will be a help. But if this relation is based on lust, and there is the lust take on the service in our Krishna consciousness, this relation is cause of suffering. As Prabhupada said, it will be full of trouble, it will kill us. And so in this relation between man and woman, so the goal is that each one gets benefits in their devotional life, and ultimately to have a children that they can grow in Krishna consciousness. I think it is said in Vedic literature that Grihastha Ashram without a children is like hell. So the goal is not just to say to stay together and enjoy the life together, man and woman, but is to give the opportunity to a soul to grow in Krishna consciousness. So this is the goal of this relation between man and woman in Krishna consciousness. And in Srimad Bhagavatam there is a verse in the teaching of Rishabh Dev, who said that the man who cannot save his relative or his disciple from the cycle of birth and death should not be a father, should not be a spiritual master,
Teacher.
Teacher. I think. I'll look. Father, mother, or spiritual master. So this is how the responsibility is a big responsibility to be a father or mother. So what we should learn from this is that even before getting associated with a woman through the marriage or through the process of trying to create a family in Krishna consciousness, we should be master of the sex desire. If we are not free of sex desire, we should not even try to marry someone, because it will be just trouble. Because if we not control sex impulse, when we'll be associated with a woman, this sex impulse will be even stronger because we will associate with the opposite sex. So this is really dangerous. If we are not master, so we will associate with a woman and we will have sex life, and it will be a source of trouble. We see this example how the relation can be a source of trouble in the third canto, in the pastime of the birth of Hiranyaksha, where Diti was in the couple of Diti and Kashyapa Muni. So Diti is the daughter of Daksha, and Kashyapa Muni is the son of Marichi, one of the sons of Brahma. And Kashyapa Muni is a great sage who was master of himself. He could control all the impulse of sex and all the impulse of the body. But Diti was affected by lusty desire, and she tried to she asked to her husband, she wanted to have a son, and she tried to take her husband out of his meditation. He was fixed in his meditation on the Supreme Lord, and tried to get him to have a son. And because he said to her, it's not the good time, now is night, it's not good time to have a relation. If we have sex now, it will be a source of trouble. So this is a perfect husband who said, no, this is not good at this time. He knows exactly what should be the consciousness when we have sex life. Sex life is explained by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, that he is the sex life when it is done in according to religious principle. So Kashyapa Muni followed this religious principle, and he said, no, now is not the good time to have sex life, and you should wait. But she could not wait. So they had this union, sex life, and this was the source of the birth of Hiranyaksha. So you see how troublesome can be if the woman don't listen, the husband, and if the religious principles are not followed in the Grihastha ashram. So both should be actually really spiritual and really master of their senses in this relation, in the way that the children will take birth from this couple will be helpful in Krishna consciousness. So I will read just one purport from Srila Prabhupada. This is in his first canto, where Srila Prabhupada, first canto, the first verse. So you see how Srila Prabhupada is speaking really the absolute truth is from the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. He wants to establish this absolute truth. So this is from the comment of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, specifically deal with the original and pure sex psychology, adiras, devoid of all mundane inebriety. The whole material creation is moving under the principle of sex life. In modern civilization, sex life is a focal point for all activities. Wherever one runs his face, he sees sex life predominant. This makes me think of Paris. Everywhere you have this, you have sex shop, everyone is trying to have sex life. I mean, this is a city of love. Love. City of lust, we should call it actually. We rename it City of Lust. Therefore, sex life is not unreal. It is reality, is experienced in the spiritual world. The material sex life is but a perverted reflection of the original fact. The original fact is in the absolute truth, and thus the absolute truth cannot be impersonal. It is not possible to be impersonal and contain pure sex life. Consequently, the impersonalist philosophers have given indirect impetus to the abominable mundane sex life because they are overstress the impersonality of the ultimate truth. Consequently, man without information of the actual spiritual form of sex has accepted perverted material sex life as the all in all. There is a distinction between sex life in the diseased material condition and spiritual sex life. The Srimad Bhagavatam will gradually elevate the unbiased reader to the highest perfectional stage of transcendence. It will enable him to transcend the three modes of material activities: fruitive action, speculative philosophy, and worship of functional deities as inculcated in Vedic verses. So this purport of Prabhupada is he tried to put to that we be careful about this, to not indulge in sex life in a perverted form, and never think of Krishna having normal sexual relationship with a gopi or Ramachandra with Sita. This is all an illusion to start to think this. But to speak of this, it's also the process to become free of sex life, because it helps us to understand that there is pure sex life also in spiritual world. And this sex life is not material sex life, is real love. It means the desire of the pleasure of the other part. And this is what we should learn through this scripture. And we are now in the 9th canto, which is just beyond the pastime of Krishna in Vrindavan, was the highest absolute truth in terms of rasa, in terms of realization of the absolute truth. So this pastime with Sita and Ramachandra is help us to prepare us to become free of this lusty desire and understand that we should look after pure love. This pure love is to fully surrender unto the Lord and have only one desire, is to please the Lord. So just to finish, I want to read one morning walk of Srila Prabhupada about attachment to women. So, you are ready?
We don't know.
Okay. You will
To
be.
hear from Prabhupada.
So it's on December 24, 1975 in Bombay. Lokanath Maharaj is speaking with Prabhupada. I think it's Lokanath Maharaj. So Lokanath is asking, the man's body is made up of kapha, pitta, vayu, and woman's body also has the same ingredient. Prabhupada answered, yes, everybody. So Lokanath is asking, so then what is basic difference between human body, man's body and woman's body, which attract each other? Prabhupada, because if you want to be attracted, God has made in such a way that both of them are attractive to one another. That's all. You want to be attracted, therefore woman is made attractive. And the woman want to be attracted, man is attractive. This is the natural arrangement so that you may be bound up by this attraction. Taylor mitha idaya granti maham. You are already bound up, and by this attraction, you will be more tightly bound up. Pumsam striya michuni bhavam. Woman, it answers. The word material attraction means a man attraction for woman and woman attraction for man. But when they are seeking, where is woman? Where is woman? Where is woman? And the woman is seeking, they come are here to make this business, you. And when they are actually attracted or united, then this bondage, material bondage, will become more tight. Therefore, the Vedic civilization is how to slacken it, and ultimately, by force, separation, sannyas. Because unless they are separated, there cannot be any spiritual advancement. That is the world process. The unity is bondage. I have written a letter that man is good, woman is good, and when they are united, they are bad. Both of them are bad. And the material world is taking this is the best thing. But actually, that is not the thing. Man is good because he is part and parcel of God. And woman is good because she is part and parcel of God. But when they unite, they become bad. Tayo mitadi idayanti maho. So look at that. For detachment, you suggest they remain separate? Prabhupada, yes. Unless they are separated, it is very difficult to advance in spiritual consciousness. That is the whole Vedic system, gradual. First of all, brahmachari is educated very nicely that this is not good to marry and enter into a family life. And in spite of education, if he is still inclined, then he allowed to marry. This is a concession. And that is for a few days, few years. Then compulsory separation from the family life, vanaprastha. At that time, wife is allowed to stay with the husband, but finally they are separated, sannyas. Wife should go home, remain with their children. That's all. Lokanat. So when they are grihastha, they make advancement. Prabhupada. That advancement is not very solid, but there is advancement. But that is not very solid. So this is the answer of Prabhupada. And Sridhar is asking, without sex pleasure, a man and woman will not be attracted to one another? Yes, attraction means that sex. There is no other. Yan me tunadi griya medi sukham itucham. Why they are working so hard day and night? Only for that sex pleasure. That is the psychology. There is no other happiness. Yan me tunadi griya medi sukham hitucham. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.45. Their happiness is based on the center of sex pleasure. Sridhar. So the body of a woman only remains of sex pleasure? No. Body of man or woman, the same thing. This is the only pleasure. In this material world, so-called pleasure means sex pleasure. Why they are working so hard day and night? Only for sex pleasure. That is the center. Lokanat. They say, we want to come together to serve the Lord. Is that excuse or is that Prabhupada say, together they go to hell? Prabhupada is very strong. Devotee. Srila Prabhupada, in your society, if sometimes household devotees, they do very big job. I mean, they are advanced then. Prabhupada, who has done that big job? You have done? Devotee, well, we see all the GBC and they are doing very nicely, like Solabadas and Motidas. Prabhupada, they are sannyasi. Solabha is sannyasi. His wife doesn't live with him. So Prabhupada considers my husband as a sannyasi if they are separated in their life. Ketananda. The same principle is there for everyone, insofar as one becomes detached, then he is a sannyas. Prabhupada. Yes, sannyas, detachment required. Ketananda. It is not a matter of clothes. Prabhupada. No. Sannyasi anasaktasya vichayan. He has no attachment for this eating, sleeping, mating. He is attached to Krishna, and that is sannyasi. Sannyasi does not mean dress, detached. Sat sannyasi, sat hom tat sat, the supreme, and for him everything, risk all. That is sannyas. So, just the last sentence of Prabhupada. One who does not take the reward of his labor is a sannyasi, an ashrita kalam palam. Everyone for some work for some profit, and one who does not take the profit work for Krishna is a sannyasi. An ashrita kama palam karyam. Karyam means it is my duty to work for Krishna. In this way, one work is a sannyasi. Anashrita karma param karyam karma karotiya. Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragir na chakriya. He is a yogi also. Just like Arjuna, he is fighting not for himself. For himself, he declined to fight. But when he understood that Krishna wants, all right, I shall fight. I shall kill my grandfather and everyone. This is sannyasi. So it shows how, I wanted to read this just because sometimes we forget how much we should keep distance between men and women. Even when we are married, we should keep only for the service ultimately. And there is no question of friendly relationship between men and women when we live in temple or when whatever, because this friendly will become just sex life at the end. And we see also in the example of Chaitanya Prabhu teaching with Chota Haridas how for someone who wants to be in renounced order of life, there is no question of any association with women, because this is a cause of fall down. So I wanted just to read this because I think it's really interesting. We are living in country or culture where we encourage this association, and even if we think we are in Krishna consciousness, because of this bad association all around us, we can fall in the trap and again try to look for this association. And we should just keep this association for the service, and both men and women is good, as Prabhupada say. When they are separated, men and women are good, and when they are associate, men and women are bad. Not one better than another, both become bad. So we keep this association just to please the Lord by worshipping deities, by doing service, but we not take for any other purpose. So this will be the last word I wanted to say on this verse. Sorry if I say something a little bit disturbing. I just try to follow it in the purport of Prabhupada. So sorry if there is any offense for what I say. Question?
Yeah, Krishna. It was interesting to hear about the fact that this exists because we are attracted, we want to be attracted, so then Krishna creates attraction, give the means to be attracted to each other. And in that connection, I understand also that to take out this desire of being attracted to someone else, we need to dive deeper in the pastimes of Krishna, and especially in the manifesting the Shringara Rasa. And at the same time, we hear quite often that if we are not, if we feel lusty, better we don't dive too much in these pastimes. So I'm just trying to understand, as in a practical point of view, what does it mean to maybe it's not the correct word to dive, but you know, to get in contact with these pastimes when we are not, you know, yet ready, and we might not be ready in this life. So how shall we associate with these pastimes in a neophyte stage, for instance?
I heard from a class of Maharaj that this should be here from someone who is free of sex life. And you see that Prabhupada at the beginning gave Krishna book with Rasa Lila, Rasa dance and everything. But you see what in his writing is putting us very aware that it is not for sex life, that is not like material sex life. So this pastime, we should enter into it through spiritual authority, because the spiritual authority have the bhav, have the emotion, and when he said you, he give you also the emotion in which you can enter inside. So we will not try to enter through the comparison of sex life of this material world. You will feel this emotion by the person who is speaking, who have the bhav of love for the Lord. And he will not give you any inch of idea that it can be sexual pleasure. And when you hear this, when you get this emotion, the other emotion become useless. I mean, you lost the attraction for women because you feel higher pleasure, paramdesha nivartate. And all our spiritual life is to associate with devotee who have this emotion, and they give you the emotion. By ourselves, we don't have any qualification to understand anything of this pastime, because our only understanding is based on body and mind and ego, nothing else. But when we associate with someone who received from his spiritual authority this bhav, and he gave you this feeling, this understanding, this realization in the heart, like Krishna gave to Brahma in his heart. Tene Brahma idaya hadikavaye. So this is how we can get this knowledge. There is no question of reading alone. There is no question of trying to understand by my intellect. It's a spiritual realization. This depends which topic we speak, but about this adirasa, this love between Krishna and the gopi and Ramachandra and Sita, there is no question to understand by intelligence. It's a question of realization in the heart by the person who have this emotion. This is how I understood when Maharaj spoke about this. He said, don't try to read alone, just read it with Prabhupada's explanation. He will protect you of any kind of speculation or trying to experience this love on the material platform. This is my, I don't know if it's answer to your question or. Maybe spiritual authority can speak more about this. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your wonderful class. Very important things you discussed today, so for everyone's benefit. So thank you very much for that, for sharing and explaining very nicely. Yes, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, which particular pastimes of the Lord are for us and which are not so beneficial. So he was explaining this Naimitika Leelas, occasional Leela, which is like performing on the stage, Krishna. They are not eternal pastimes of the Lord from Goloka. that are for sadhakas specifically, to purify their heart, to prepare them for liberated pastimes of the Lord, like rasa, etc. So similarly here, Prabhupada, each acharya is writing books for different level of devotees that then gradually can also advance. And for us, Prabhupada, recommended Bhagavad Gita, Nectar Instruction, like we study, right? There's different books for elevating our consciousness and purifying gradually our heart. For us, just gradual process of deactivating all the zanartha which are now we are under control. Yeah. And there's all these anarthas leading when we are remaining, when we are maintaining them to this one thing, to sex life, ultimately. So so Srimad Bhagavatam, when we're talking now, it is postgraduated study of Bhagavad Gita. Graduated study of Bhagavad Gita. So when we become nicely familiar with the words of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, then we studying Bhagavatam. Studying Bhagavatam become more accessible, become more practical. So then we study these activities of Krishna. But ultimately for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, for followers of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, the Chaitanya Chaitamrita is the main thing, because this is the mind and heart of Krishna. This is just, what Krishna feels, what Krishna is experiencing. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is very nicely, from first canto to 12th canto, it is just, as Acharyas are explaining, is just helping us to remove all these obstacles, one after another. And Acharyas are explaining, if we don't become self-realized by studying Bhagavatam from 1 to 12th canto, what we have to do, we just have to come back and study once again.
The Acharya said also that if you are not free of sex life, you should not go beyond the second canto. The second canto is before and after. When you are free of sex life, you can, because this is the pastime of Krishna, creating the world, the manifestation of this material world. After you go of higher pastime.
In other words, Prabhupada at the beginning, in his purpose or his writing, Srimad Bhagavatam commentaries, he explained very clearly that first we have to learn how to appreciate pastimes of first 9 cantos. That we will qualify ourselves to appreciate these eternal pastimes on the spiritual platform. So how the Lord is creating, maintaining, destroying this material world, how He's coming to save us and save everyone by His presence, by His activities dealing with His devotees, and these different stories and teachings. This is for us.
It teaches us how we can live in the material world by serving Krishna.
Like you beautifully, yes. Like you beautifully explained regarding this particular story, Prabhupada also give very nice explanation that this story is specifically about Lord Ramachandra is just teaching us how is this interaction in the material between man and woman is so troublesome, so complicated, is bringing so much problems, and then how we have to just become familiar with these pastimes, because although this is not the main pastimes, that's why they only briefly explain in this. Still, it's very important to study this from different angles in association of devotees, because then we become detached to these lower things.
Sure.
Yeah. So this everything become revealed when when we have this sangha, when we associating with each other, and we just the devotees are just discussing these things in favorable way. So then everything become revealed. Krishna and his all potencies, everything also will become revealed by such discussions. So this is something practical. Baldev Vidyabhushana regarding purport to how to destroy the root of this attachment to material world is that this is what we should do. We should gather together every day and study together. And how we study ourselves by the stories. What's going on inside within us. And then become purified and become, and then actually, all these anarthas will fall apart. But these anarthas will not fall apart if you don't want them to fall apart. So that's why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Srimad Bhagavatam class means an association of devotees. You're taking your own mind on your hand and
Walking.
and you just discuss that. This is something practical. This is great science. This is great help and tool. And this is the greatest blessings in all existence, to have this sangha, to appreciate what we actually got, what we received, and go dive deeply into that.
And Srimad Bhagavatam many times said, if you do so many service, so many activity, but you not take time for listening about the pastime of the Lord, Shravana eva kevalam, it's just a loss of time, and it's useless. So we should put a lot of importance on this time of listening, discussing between us, because it will help us to grow and to, like you say, get the roots of sex life, cut or material life. Because sex life is, like Prabhupada explained, is the roots of material existence, this attraction. Merci beaucoup, thank you very much, all of you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
NITAI Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.